So my name is Bridget Tojak, and I am in a bind. I am currently operating pro se in litigation. And the one I'm particularly coming to you to let you know, and asking for help actually, is while I was a sitting justice, a town justice in Allegheny County, New York, a sheriff deputy and two other representatives from the sheriff's department, so I'm not sure exactly what their title is, but the acting civil division deputy went to serve upon me an order of suspension for my pistol permit, which subsequently results in a seizure of a firearm. The seizure of that firearm most certainly violated my Second Amendment right, based on a false written instrument that was filed. Even though it was a signed affidavit, there's not one straightforward paragraph in it. Everything has either been embellished or just straight out lies. Like the last actual physical interaction I had with the author of that affidavit, which happens to be a town supervisor, was in April of 2018. This gun confiscation happened June 13th of 2019. So in April of 2018, I didn't even have my firearm yet. So there was no possible way that she could have ever saw me with the firearm, or that I could have openly carried a firearm in New York State, because I didn't own a freaking firearm to openly carry. So everything is, well, they call it conjecture and hearsay. I'm calling it bullshit. They're lies. And she needs to be charged with the perjury and the filing of a false written instrument. And the 8th District Judicial Administration, who actually is behind her doing this, there is a lawsuit against New York State, and I am pretty much focusing on the 8th District judges. But this particular sergeant, who is certified by the New York State Sheriff's Association, did not give me a receipt for my firearm. And when he served me with the court order to suspend my CCW based on that false written instrument with the affidavit, which was the judge. I'm telling you, if you were to actually look at that affidavit and see that is a crazy person. That's not me. But the town supervisor made it out to be that I'm engaging in behavior that's a threat to public safety, which is definitely not the case. As a judge, I was protecting constitutional rights of everybody that came through my courtroom. And that was my main focus. I protected your constitutional rights, and you were always innocent until proven guilty. Now, that did not happen with me. I was presumed guilty and had to prove myself innocent. And I'm still going. I got my gun back. Informal proof. Judge Brown, upon informal proof, after both lawyers for the defense, myself, and the plaintiff, which was the county attorney acting on behalf of the sheriff, they spoke to all the witnesses, and nobody could support the statements of the town supervisor. Nobody. And I got my gun back. Well, this is even better. So not only did I get my gun back, I was discriminated because I was a woman. So basically what happened was they exchanged my Second Amendment for my 14th Amendment, or I gave up my 14th Amendment to be treated equally under the law, equal protection. Nobody in Allegheny County has to take a safety course. We are in a county that has no cities. So, in a county with no cities, it's pretty rural, and I'm a farmer's daughter. So this here is a castration band. I know how to use that. When somebody who can use a castration band safely, most likely can use the pistol safety. Yes, I have a pink raspberry Ruger, and I do know how to use it. And that's not the problem. I didn't need to take a safety class. I needed to take Penal Law 35 class. I need to know when I could use deadly force. And it's one of the reasons I got a pink Ruger. I'm like, well, if I have to pull, And I'm gonna, if I draw, I'm emptying that cartridge. I'm emptying it. And you need to know it's a girl that's shooting you. I'm like, don't enter my private property without being invited. I guess you can pick your poison. You can pick the blue castration bander or the raspberry Ruger. But I'm smart enough not to look down the barrel of a freaking gun. Safety class was not what I needed. The use of deadly force class is what I needed, advanced training. But the judge went further to say, and here in Allegheny County, we offer classes just for women. Just for women. So, it was his generation. And I don't think he meant to discriminate against me because I was a woman, but he did nonetheless. It's still offensive. It's still painful. And Allegheny County has got to be one of the most misogynistic counties. And I've lived in multiple places. I've never been treated so poorly as a woman than I have in Allegheny County. And I was the first woman judge in both towns. I guess I couldn't handle that. And not only was I, I was paid what? $2,000 in the town of Granger. I was paid, I think, $25 in Allen, and that's for a year. As soon as I resigned, because I was smart enough to resign, even though the administrative order had just wanted to suspend my ability to adjudicate, and the male judge, dude, $4,050 more, because my set is above the belt, his set's below the belt. I would still argue I've got a stronger set. Yeah. Anyways, but what I'm looking for help with now is, so I've got a lawsuit against New York State. I've got a lawsuit against the town of Allen, town supervisor. And I got a lawsuit against the town of Allen, but that's a separate thing. They didn't want to pay me my mileage for depositing justice court funds using my personal vehicle. But that's different. The case I need help with right now, it's quite desperate, is the sergeant did not give me a receipt for my firearm. He did not have the affidavit of my accuser. He did not give me a receipt for the court keys. And he did not give me a receipt for the CCW. I gave him my permit. I gave him my firearm. I gave him the court keys. And he gave me the order to suspend. And he gave me the administrative order. That was it. So I filed a suit. Well, and then my gates are closed because I rescue animals. I have gates that are closed at the end of my driveway. He did not have a warrant to come onto my personal property. So I'm also suggesting he engaged in Fourth Amendment violations. So I'm like, no. And if I wouldn't have had 600 pounds of dog in my house, because you could see my firearm right through my kitchen door, through the window. It was right on my table. I didn't have it on me because I planned on going to the county building, and you cannot carry in the county building, and I had a locking mechanism issue with my vehicle. So I preemptively or proactively left my firearm at home. There are, at the time, I want to say there were 8 or 9 dogs, because I rescue them. I'm like, I'm not